You better not send the drops unless that shit for sure. And when they do say yeah, we get to screaming out, let's go. No, I fuck on bitches, he gon' have his hoe. You wasn't in the trap before I got hold to them bros.
Yo, I'm in this bitch, and today we go. today gonna be a funny one. We gonna be talking about pretty much cartoon characters that I feel like what type of drugs they'll be on, like, you know what I'm saying, like which cartoon characters will smoke what type of drugs. Big goddamn, we finna do characters from Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel. Because a couple of days ago I was talking to some of the homies on which cartoon characters I feel like, you know, will smoke weed, or, you know what I'm saying, be on cocaine and all that shit. Like, I'm probably gonna do a video on which one I feel like would be like heavy smokers, and which one I feel like would be heavy drinkers. I'll probably do the drinking one later on and shit, because this one gonna be long and lengthy, no homo. But yeah, it's basically gonna be Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney characters and shit. So starting off, I'm gonna start off with Nick first. I'm just get this out the way. The main characters that I feel like will be chiefing is the goddamn Ed and Eddie niggas and the goddamn regular show niggas. Like, them niggas will definitely be chiefing. But I'm gonna start with Nick first. So in terms of the niggas from Doug, I feel like Doug, cause Doug got like heavy anxiety. Doug has heavy anxiety, because if you watch Doug, the nigga always was having like hallucinations and shit. Like, he always was tripping. Nigga used to be so paranoid and anxious and scared. I feel like Doug would definitely try to do drugs, you know, to calm him down. Probably Skeeter would probably be the one to get him into like weed at least. I feel like Skeeter would definitely be smoking weed. But I feel like Doug would start with smoking weed, but he start getting into hard drugs. Like, I feel like Doug starts doing shrooms and acid. Like, he starts doing all that shit, nigga. Like the LSD, all them hardcore drugs, pills. I feel like he do all that to try to clear his anxiety. And then like the little acid trips of Quillman and all that shit. Yeah, I could definitely see Doug doing heavy drugs. I feel like Judy, his sister, boy, she definitely do that shit, but I feel like she definitely was sniffing cocaine, Bill. She definitely was sniffing cocaine. She definitely was on crack. I know she was smoking weed. That's what kind of sparked Doug's interest, because he knew she was doing some hardcore drugs. I know she probably do shrooms too, acid, all that. The same shit that Doug is doing, I feel like Judy doing that shit too, popping pills, all that shit. I just feel like Judy could probably handle herself more. I feel like Doug would be fucking up, bro. And the nigga probably OD and overdosing a couple of times and shit, in and out of the hospital. I can see Doug being heavy in that shit, like heavy. Yeah, I feel like Doug doing that shit. Skeeter's only smoking weed though. I feel like Skeeter wouldn't mess with them heavy drugs. He'll just be smoking weed. I feel like Judy's doing everything, all that heavy shit. I feel like Roger would really only smoke weed. Like Roger and his boys, what was it? Roger, Boomer, goddamn, who else? Roger, Boomer, Ned, all them niggas. I feel like they just potheads. They smoking weed, and I feel like they'll probably sniff cocaine too. I feel like they'll probably do cocaine. I feel like they probably would do shrooms too, like, but not as often as Doug, just like a here and there type of shit. And they probably would pressure Doug in the past to do that fuck. But when Doug start going overboard, they kind of like get scared and like, nah, this nigga tripping type shit. So that's the characters I feel like Doug that would be doing that shit. Mr. Dink definitely was doing drugs. I feel like they definitely was. Mr. and Mrs. Dink was definitely smoking weed. Probably was sniffing cocaine too. I feel like Mr. Dink was probably doing everything. That nigga was kind of crazy. In terms of everybody else, like Patty, I don't see Patty doing nothing. I don't see Chalky doing anything, because Chalky an athlete. I can see Patty being on some shit like, nigga, that shit is bad for you. That shit is stupid. I feel like Chalky would think the same. I don't see BB doing that shit. I don't really see nobody else on that shit doing drugs outside of the niggas I name. So moving on, can't do Rugrats because they're babies and shit. I'm gonna wait to do the Rugrats niggas and like on the all grown up version, but I'm gonna just do the Rugrats adults. Stu is definitely chiefing. Goddamn. Stu is definitely chiefing. I feel like Stu is definitely smoking weed. Yeah, I feel like he's sniffing too. I feel like that nigga be sniffing cocaine. I feel like he do crack a little bit. I feel like Stu be doing that shit. Low key though, he don't be bad. He just one of them niggas, he invent some shit, and after he invents some shit, you know, he'll sniff a little bit of some coke. He'll sniff a little bit of coke, but don't be too bad with it. He definitely chiefing though, because Dee Dee be stressing my dog out, so he definitely chiefing though. Probably chiefing in coke. Probably not crack, but like coke. Probably just chiefing in coke. I feel like Dee Dee ain't doing shit. Dee Dee would probably just drink wine every now and then, but I don't feel like Dee Dee's doing nothing. She probably read a book, oh, that's bad for you, Stu. She don't fuck with it, but Stu be doing that shit. Stu don't be giving a damn. I don't see Chaz doing anything. I feel like he's not doing anything. Kira, which is Chaz's wife, she's not doing anything. I don't see Susie parents doing drugs. I don't see Phil and Lil's mom and dad. I don't see them doing it either. The only motherfucker from Rugrats I really like, the only parents from Rugrats I really see doing that shit is goddamn Stu. I feel like everybody else wouldn't be fucking with that shit. So in terms of Ren and Stimpy, yeah, them niggas definitely doing drugs. Goddamn Ren, Stimpy, they doing it all. Coke, crack, weed. Them niggas smoking cigarettes. Oh, that's another one. Roger is definitely smoking cigarettes from Doug. Roger and his boys definitely smoking cigarettes. The cigarettes was big as shit in the 90s. Like, Doug old as hell. That shit came out in 91. Yeah, them niggas definitely doing cigarettes. I could see goddamn Doug doing that shit too. But yeah, Ren and Stimpy, they smoking everything you could think of. Like, them niggas going crazy. Acid, shrooms, LSD, they popping pills, they doing PCP. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, they doing all that hardcore drug shit. In terms of Rocco's modern life, I feel like all Rocco would really do is smoke weed. I feel like that's all Rocco's doing. Heifer and Rocco, I feel like they would just be like potheads and shit. I feel like that would be it. I feel like Rocco wouldn't really be a pothead, but he'll hit that shit every now and then. I feel like Heifer would be hitting that shit every day, goddamn. I mean, all the Aura Monster niggas, I don't really know about them. I don't really know if they doing that shit or not. Kablam, nah, they not. Hey Arnold, let's get to Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold, the Hey Arnold niggas. I feel like from Hey Arnold, you could do a lot of niggas with Hey Arnold. Obviously, Helga Mom, an alcoholic. I feel like Helga Mom probably be sniffing coke. Arnold's grandma, yeah, she's definitely doing that coke. I can see her doing coke. I can see her smoking weed too. The mailman, what was his name? Harvey. Boy, his lips was goddamn so goddamn purple and Hey Arnold, but that nigga definitely smoking weed. Harvey smoking weed, and that nigga a pothead. I don't see Helga's dad doing no drugs. I don't see him doing drugs. The mom though, goddamn Miriam, boy, she definitely smoking weed. She definitely sniffing coke. She definitely an alcoholic. All that shit. And in terms of the kids when they get older and shit, Arnold, I don't see Arnold doing drugs. I feel like he probably would try weed, but he wouldn't do no drugs. The main niggas from here on I see doing drugs is like Sid. Yeah, Sid would be fucked up. I feel like Sid would definitely be chiefing. Sid, Harold, and Stinky, those would be the main three that would be chiefing, I feel like. I feel like they'll be snorting coke too. They'll definitely be snorting coke. I can see them doing shrooms. I can see them doing all that hardcore shit. Popping pills. Yeah, them niggas would be on that shit. Sid, Stinky, and Harold, because them niggas was wild. Another person, Curly. Curly is definitely doing all that shit. He's definitely sniffing coke, popping pills, shrooms, all that shit. Curly's doing that shit. Chocolate Boy, I mean, the route he was going, how crazy about he was with chocolate. Boy, that nigga definitely doing some hardcore drugs. Like, he ain't no telling what he's doing for some goddamn chocolate or radishes, nigga, or whatever the fuck he hooked on. But boy, just by his character trait, you know that nigga would be like a major crackhead. Like, he'll be a crackhead. He'll probably like I fuck with Chocolate Boy too. Like, I don't want to say it's hurting me, but I feel like he'll probably be on the streets like busting down for some. That nigga will be in the streets busting down for some crack, bruh. He'll be busting down for some goddamn drug. Like, that nigga, yeah, Chocolate Boy, the route he was going, bruh, how addictive he is, boy, he'll be fucked up. Who else from Hey Arnold that would? I don't see Helga doing nothing because of her mom. Phoebe's too smart for that shit. I don't see Gerald. I don't really see Gerald doing nothing. I don't really see him smoking either. His brother Jamie-O, he'll only smoke weed. That's the only thing he'll only do weed. So I don't see Rhonda doing nothing. Nadine definitely chiefing. Nadine, she's one with nature. Yeah, she definitely hitting the blunt. Hell yeah, Nadine doing that shit. She chiefing. Who else from here on? You got Lila. Man, Lila ain't doing nothing. Brainy's definitely chiefing. I can see him sniffing coke too. Wolfgang, I can see Wolfgang and Edmund. I can see Edmund doing all that hardcore drugs. I could definitely see Edmund doing all that crazy shit. I could kind of see Wolfgang getting into that too, but not as bad as Edmund. Edmund's doing shrooms and all that shit and coke. I feel like Edmund will mostly only smoke like cigarettes. He'll probably hit the blunt every now and then. I feel like Wolfgang would be more of a drinker than anything. Like Edmund, he'll just do everything: crack, cocaine, it don't matter, weed, ecstasy, all that shit. Wolfgang will pretty much really only smoke cigarettes, and he'll just be a drinker. He'll probably hit the blunt every now and then type shit. He'll probably sniff coke every now and then, but he wouldn't be like too heavy in it like Edmund would. I feel like Edmund would be crazy. Nigga, who else from here on? The goddamn 6th grade girls, Connie and Maria. They definitely smoking. I feel like they definitely smoking. They give me cigarette vibes. Even though they were bad as hell, like I ain't gonna lie, they was bad as hell, but they definitely give me cigarette vibes. I feel like they'll hit a cigarette. I feel like Maria they smoking weed too. I feel like they doing it all. I can see them doing it all, like popping pills. I feel like they wouldn't be heavy in it, but they'll at least do it every now and then type shit. But yeah, they'll definitely be drinkers and shit. No, what's next? Who else? Bro, he don't got so many goddamn characters. The grandpa. I feel like the grandpa did that shit way back in the day, like weed and shit, but he ain't on that shit now because he old. Goddamn, the grandma's still on that shit. Let's look at the borders. Mr. Wynn not doing nothing. Ernie would probably just smoke cigarettes and that's it. Oscar, that's the one that's sniffing coke. Oscar definitely sniffing coke and cocaine, and he definitely. I feel like Oscar's definitely doing crack. Yeah, so I feel like mainly crack and cocaine. That's like the shit he be fucking with. Heroin, yeah, he doing that shit. Who else from Hey Arnold? I think I done named a lot of the niggas from Hey Arnold. I done named like all the kids. Big Patty, I don't see Big Patty getting into no type of drugs. I think I done named all the nigga classmates. Curly, yeah, I said Curly was doing everything. Sheena would probably smoke weed and that's it. I think I done named everybody from Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold got a lot of niggas, and I love Hey Arnold, so I could talk about this shit with Hey Arnold all day. Iggy would definitely smoke weed, but Iggy a bitch. I don't know, man, fuck Iggy, but Iggy would definitely be like a pothead. Iggy would definitely be a pothead. Yeah, I done named niggas. I done named niggas in the 5th grade. I done named niggas the 6th grade motherfuckers. Ruth. I feel like Ruth wouldn't do no drugs. She'll think that shit nasty. Yeah, I feel like I done named mostly everybody. Mr. Simmons definitely wouldn't be on that shit. Or if he did, he'll be like very secretive about it type shit, so nobody would know. But I don't feel like Mr. Simmons don't strike me as a motherfucker. He strike me as a motherfucker that would be against drugs, like drug free. Like yeah, he'll definitely be on that shit. Okay, so moving on to the Angry Beavers, Norbert and Daggett is definitely smoking weed. Like it's facts. They like you can just look at Norbert and tell, but Norbert be chiefing, bro. Like Norbert and Daggett definitely be chiefing. Like they got crackhead energy. But I don't see none of them doing crack. I see Norbert being the type of nigga, yeah, I only stick to weed. Like, nigga love weed so much, he only sticks to weed. Now, goddamn Daggett, I can see Daggett doing crack and shit. I can see Daggett trying crack and cocaine and shit, because Daggett definitely got that type of energy. But I feel like Norbert, he's only doing weed. In terms of the Wild Thornberry niggas, I feel like Donnie would be the only nigga on that bitch. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like Nigel Thornberry, that nigga. I feel like he'll definitely be chiefing that weed. he give me weed vibes. But that would be it. And goddamn Donnie doing everything. Donnie is doing every possible drug you could think of: weed, ecstasy, all that shit, nigga. Acid, shrooms, coke, all that shit. And Donnie's doing everything. Heroin, yeah. Donnie's going crazy, and like the nigga could just do all that shit and it's not gonna matter. Like this nigga's drinking. Donnie just lit. He drinking like this. You can't beat Donnie. Goddamn, like Donnie's doing everything. Eliza, I don't think Eliza doing nothing. Well, Eliza definitely not doing shit. Daryl not doing nothing. The mom, I don't think the mom would do anything. The mom probably smokes cigarettes though. Debbie, I don't see Debbie doing no drugs either. If she did, it probably would be weed. She would probably do it just to like have fun or experience life, but I don't see Debbie doing nothing. I mean, two motherfuckers is Nigel would be smoking weed probably, and then Donnie would just be everything. So from CatDog, I don't really know about CatDog. I don't know about CatDog. They smoking or not. Winslow definitely like smoking cigarettes and shit. He strike me as a cigarette motherfucker. He'll probably hit the blunt too. Yeah, Winslow would probably hit the blunt. In terms of CatDog, bruh. The Greasers definitely smoking cigarettes. I feel like everybody in CatDog hitting a cigarette. The Greasers definitely hitting a cigarette. I can see Rancid Rabbit, goddamn shiesty ass hitting a cigarette. I feel like everybody in CatDog just hitting cigarettes. I feel like that's the shit they do over there. The Greasers probably will hit the blunt too every now and then, but they mean shit cigarettes. Cig of weed. Niggas doing it both. In terms of SpongeBob, boys, SpongeBob definitely hitting the blunt. I ain't gonna count. Cause the main person, Patrick, bro. I feel like at first SpongeBob would be like drug free, but goddamn Patrick, he ended up getting some drugs. Patrick smoking weed. Patrick popping pills. Patrick doing everything. He's like another Donnie, except for he got a little bit more of some sense. We can understand the nigga a little bit. Yeah, Patrick's doing everything, and I feel like at first SpongeBob was on shit like, no, drugs is bad, and then Patrick ends up hooking it up, and then SpongeBob starts doing everything. SpongeBob starts sniffing coke. He starts smoking weed. They doing shrooms together. They going on acid trips. Like they doing heroin. Like they just start ODing. So I feel like Patrick and SpongeBob doing everything. It's kind of like the Hooky episode. Like, you know, it's that shit like Patrick will always bring something up, and SpongeBob know it's bad. He's like, no, you can't do that. And then Patrick just keeps like kind of pressuring him, and SpongeBob gives in. It's like the Hooky episode. Patrick, goddamn, was Mr. Krabs told SpongeBob about the hooks, and you know Patrick's like, no, the hooks is good. The carnival's here, and you know nothing's gonna happen to you. And SpongeBob was like, SpongeBob didn't want to do it, but Patrick kept pressuring him. He kept getting on. It looked like it was fun, and SpongeBob got on that fucking. He got hooked. That's the same thing in the drug shit. First SpongeBob ain't doing that shit. Patrick doing everything, and Patrick keeps influencing SpongeBob, and SpongeBob ends up getting hooked. You know, ends up doing drugs and shit. Like, you know, going on acid trips together. I feel like SpongeBob, Patrick, they doing everything. I feel like Squidward would just smoke weed just to calm his nerves from SpongeBob and Patrick. He just had to smoke weed to just calm his nerves. So yeah, Squidward definitely be hitting the blunt. Mr. Krab, I feel like Mr. Krabs would be chiefing too, low key. I feel like Mr. Krabs would be chiefing. Yeah. Who else? Sandy. I don't think Sandy would. Nah, Sandy wouldn't smoke. Sandy wouldn't. Miss Puff, definitely. Miss Puff is doing everything. I ain't gonna say everything, but Miss Puff is doing some shit. She's smoking weed. She's smoking cigarettes. I feel like she's snorting crack. Not crack. She's snorting cocaine. She's snorting coke to deal with SpongeBob ass. Like SpongeBob is the main reason why she doing all these hardcore drugs. She popping pills. I feel like Miss Puff is doing everything. Goddamn PCP, all that shit because of SpongeBob. SpongeBob just keep ignoring the shit out of her, so she keep goddamn going crazy on the drugs and shit. She going on little acid trips too. Yeah, Miss Puff definitely doing that. I feel like Plankton. I see Plankton hitting the blunt every now and then. Not like that. Not like everybody else, but he'll hit that shit every now and then. So that's SpongeBob niggas. Rocket Power niggas definitely chiefing. I could definitely see Otto chiefing, bro. Cause that nigga Tito, bro. We all knew Tito was hitting the blunt, bro. Let's keep this stat. But we all knew Tito was chiefing, bro. Tito was definitely smoking that loud, bro. Let's be honest, bro. If you just look at Tito and remember his vibe on it, so like Tito was always just so chill, bro. The ancient Hawaiian says, but that nigga was chill as fuck, happy as hell. He would never really get on Otto like that. Like he was just a chill older cousin, OG uncle. Like, bro, Tito would chill, bro. You know, Tito was hitting the blunt, bro. So Tito definitely chiefing. I feel like Otto, he definitely gives me pothead vibes. Otto definitely hitting that shit. Otto and Twister, they definitely doing that shit. No cap. They Otto and Twister, they definitely on that shit. Reggie, I feel like at first Reggie's against it. Like I feel like Otto and Twister, they start doing that shit when they become like 13, 14 and shit. They surfers and shit too, skateboarders, but yeah, they definitely potheads. I feel like with Reggie, it takes her a little while to give in. I feel like once Reggie really start doing this, she probably gonna be like 17, 18, like maybe even 19. I feel like for the longest it's just Otto and Twister, and then Reggie and Sammy's against it, and then eventually Reggie gets in and Reggie start hitting the blunt. But I feel like with them, they only smoking weed though. Like I don't feel like they doing no crazy shit. Maybe Twister might try some shit because his brother. I feel like Lars and his niggas, like Lars and Pi, man, them niggas definitely, they smoking weed, but they doing some more shit, nigga. Them niggas popping pills and shit. Lars definitely give me popping pills energy, and I feel like Twister would do that shit every now and then because of his influence with his brother. And he probably the nigga Twister probably done got hooked, goddamn, and had to go to rehab or some shit. But Otto and Reggie is only doing weed. I feel like Sammy is just not doing that shit at all. I feel like he's not doing that shit. He'll drink though. Sammy would drink, but that smoking shit, he's not doing that shit. But Otto, Reggie, and Twister, they definitely hitting the blunt. But Twister is doing some more shit too. Like he probably popping shrooms. I could see Otto trying some shrooms too. I could see him trying shrooms and acid. Yeah, I could definitely see an Otto doing that shit too sometimes with Twister. But Reggie just strictly dickly weed. You know, she only smokes weed. I can see Otto venturing to shrooms and shit sometimes with Twister. And yeah. So Otto will smoke weed, but he'll be doing that other shit too, and that's when like Reggie not fucking with that shit. Yeah. Okay, that's how that's gonna go. The dad, Raymundo, I feel like Raymundo is not doing nothing. I feel like Raymundo don't smoke. Definitely a drinker though. Who else was on goddamn Rocket Power? You got Eddie. Yeah, the Eddie. Yeah, the nigga, the Netherworld nigga. Yeah, he's definitely hitting the blunt. He's definitely smoking weed, crack, and coke, and he going on trips too. Goddamn, he doing acid. Sherry, and what was the other one name? It was Sherry. I forgot the other girl name. But Sherry definitely hitting that shit though. Sherry and the other girl. I forgot the other girl name, bruh. But I can see them chiefing too. But I feel like that's all they're doing. So moving on to goddamn As Told by Ginger. I feel like the only nigga on As Told by Ginger that's really doing some crazy shit is that nigga Jake. Or the little brother. What was the little brother name? I think his name was Carl. Yeah, Ginger's little brother. I think his name was Carl. I feel like he'll be on it. He'll be smoking weed and probably doing acid, popping pills. It'll be him and his other homeboy that they'll be doing that shit. I feel like those are the only niggas from As Told by Ginger that would be doing like drugs like that, like hardcore drugs. Fairly Odd Parents. Timmy, bro. Timmy definitely hitting that shit, bro. He got Cosmo and Wanda, bro. Bro, he got Cosmo and Wanda, and when he get older, he ain't gonna have them no more. So if that's true, yeah, Timmy definitely going on acid trips because he's gonna feel like he missing something. Timmy definitely going on acid trips. I could definitely see Timmy popping pills, doing shrooms, smoking weed. I could see Timmy doing all that shit. I could see him and Chester doing that shit. They both popping pills and doing shrooms and shit. And I could see AJ not fucking with that shit. AJ would probably only smoke weed and that's it. He'll be like, yeah, I only smoke weed type shit. Who else? Goddamn, that's it for the Fairly Odd Parents. Like Mr. Crocker, I could see Mr. Crocker definitely snorting coke and shit. He definitely doing coke. Goddamn, who else on the? I don't want to do the fairies because they like. I ain't gonna do Cosmo one. I don't think they. I don't think none of the fairies doing that shit. Honestly, Timmy's mom and dad. I could definitely see them doing some shit. I could definitely see Timmy's dad sniffing coke. Honestly, the Timmy dad was crazy. I could see them like doing it. I could see Timmy's mom and dad doing that shit and hitting a blunt. I could see them doing that shit. I could see them doing some crazy shit too because Timmy's parents was kind of crazy. Vicky, I feel like Vicky would just be hitting the blunt. I feel like Vicky would just be smoking weed probably. But Vicky do kind of give me the vibes that she'll be trying that hard shit too. Like she'll be trying them hardcore drugs. Who else on the Fairly Odd Parents? Like I'm trying to name Trixie. I don't see Trixie doing nothing like no crazy drugs. I don't see Tootie doing anything. Veronica, I don't see nobody else on that shit really doing anything like that. So moving on to Invader Zim. I feel like Dib's dad probably sniffed coke. Zim is just all, you can't really do Invader Zim because Zim is, I don't know, bro. Invader Zim kind of unpredictable. Zim wouldn't even know what weed is, but if he stayed on Earth long enough, he would know what that shit is. Dib. Now I can see Dib not doing drugs because he'll think it's bad for him. I can see Dib avoiding drugs or try to. His dad definitely doing that shit though. Gaz, I can see Gaz just smoking weed. In terms of Zim, I feel like Zim wouldn't do that shit. I feel like he'll probably think that shit is nasty. So Zim not doing that shit. So yeah. ChalkZone. I feel like Rudy. Yeah, I definitely feel like Rudy probably smoking weed because it's kind of similar to Timmy. Like, yeah, I feel like Rudy would do like the same shit I said for Timmy. Rudy would do that shit because Timmy used to have the Fairly Odd Parents. He used to have Cosmo one, and then Rudy used to be able to go into the ChalkZone world. So I could definitely see him and Penny doing that shit. I could see Snap hitting the blunt too, but I could definitely see Rudy and Penny like doing some hardcore drugs, like acid and shit, shrooms. I can see them doing that shit. Jimmy Neutron. I can see Sheen. Sheen is really the only nigga. Like the only niggas on Jimmy Neutron I can see like really doing like really smoking is Sheen, Carl, and Nick. Cause Jimmy's not gonna smoke. Betty, I don't see Betty doing anything. Cindy and Libby, they definitely not gonna smoke. I don't see them smoking. I feel like they too smart for that shit. Goddamn, Sheen just gonna be chiefing. He just gonna be smoking weed. I feel like all Sheen would really do is smoke weed. That's it. Nick, same thing. I feel like all Nick would do is weed. So those two just gonna pretty much stick to weed. I feel like Carl, he gonna be doing that other shit. That nigga gonna be doing shrooms and acid and shit. He gonna be the nigga gonna be trying to see llamas. He's like, oh, I see llamas when I do this. So I feel like Carl definitely doing shrooms and shit. He definitely doing shrooms, acid. I can see him sniffing on coke. Carl a funny nigga. Like, Carl a funny nigga. So yeah, I can see those three on Jimmy Neutron doing it, but everybody else I could kind of see like trying to avoid that shit because Jimmy Neutron had a lot of smart niggas, bro. Like they had a lot of smart niggas on that shit, bro. Like so, Sheen, Nick, weed, and then Carl would be doing like shrooms and shit. Now we get to the all grown up version of Rugrats. Okay, now we can get to the kids. Goddamn, I feel like off the bat that nigga Dill. Yeah, Dill is doing everything. Dill was wild as fuck. Dill was wild as fuck when I was growing up. Like, Dill was wild as fuck. Dill is doing everything. He's doing all of the above. He's another Donnie. He's another SpongeBob and Patrick. Like, this nigga Dill is smoking weed. This nigga popping Xanax. Like, he's, bruh. You look, bro. You can't tell me that Dill don't strike you as a nigga that's gonna be popping Xans, but Dill is definitely popping Xans. Nigga doing Molly. This nigga doing shrooms. He's sniffing coke. He's doing crack. And this nigga Dill doing it all. Goddamn, like weed and like goddamn pills. This nigga Dill is doing it all. Like him, Dill and Phil. Those are the two main ones. Dill and Phil is doing it all. I see Dill and Phil getting real tight when they get older, bro, because they doing it all. But Phil is mostly chiefing, but he'll do that other hardcore shit with Dill too. Like he'll pop a Xanax. They'll sniff on coke together. They'll be doing that other shit. Phil will do all that other shit. Shrooms and all that shit. Acid. Yeah, Phil is on that shit too. I feel like Lil will really only just smoke weed. Like, she'll only smoke weed. She wouldn't fuck with other shit. Lil would just smoke weed. I feel like Tommy would be chiefing, but he will only smoke weed. He'll only smoke weed. I can see him and Stu lighting the blood together. I feel like Tommy wouldn't fuck with the other shit, but he would try it type shit. Like he'll probably try acid a couple times and have like a couple of crazy trips and be like, yeah, I'm not fucking with this. Like he'll probably be on it. He probably would get hooked on acid and will have to go to rehab type shit. I can see Tommy doing that shit. Like he get hooked up on acid and then he has to go to rehab and then he decides like he's not doing acid again. But like I feel like Tommy definitely chiefing. Like he'll either be chiefing and then he'll probably pop a couple of pills every now and then type shit. But I feel like he got hooked on acid and then he had to go to rehab because he just couldn't get off that shit. So that's what I see from Tommy. From Chucky, at first I was like, I don't think Chucky doing that bit, but now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, I feel like Chucky doing that bit. I feel like Chucky doing that bit. I feel like Chucky chiefing. Chucky chiefing, bro. He chiefing. And I feel like he be sniffing coke too. I feel like Chucky's another one. I feel like both Tommy and Chucky would have moments where they'll have to go to rehab because they just get too hooked. I feel like Chucky just gets too hooked on coke and acid and shit, and him and Tommy both got to go to rehab. Goddamn, all of them probably went to that bitch. It's just Dill and Phil don't give a fuck to get off of it. But I feel like, yeah, Chucky would be doing that hardcore shit too because he'd be scary and shit. So I feel like Chucky, all grown up Chucky would definitely be doing like shrooms and shit. Shrooms, acid. He don't really want to, but it's like he's hooked on the shit. Yeah. And he'll definitely be chiefing weed too. I feel like Angelica would be doing drugs too. She'll just keep that shit low key. Like she'll try to hide it from everybody, but everybody low key knows Angelica be chiefing, bro. I feel like Angelica definitely chiefing. She definitely chiefing. Smoking weed. I could see Angelica doing coke too. I could definitely see Angelica sniffing coke. She's definitely hiding that from people. Yeah, I can see Angelica pretty much sniffing coke and doing weed. I can see her hiding that shit. I can see, you know what, I can see her doing that shit with Dill and be like, yo, Dill, don't tell nobody type shit, like, cuz, don't tell nobody. I can see it. But I already know, boy, she doing that shit with Dill, goddamn, but she telling Dill to keep that shit like a secret, goddamn. But Angelica doing that shit behind closed doors. She act like she don't, but she doing that shit. She chiefing. And it like, eventually everybody's kind of knowing that she's cheating. Like, man, Angelica be doing that shit, but Angelica be denying the shit. And then eventually, at a point, she just stopped giving the fuck about hiding it. But for a long time, she hiding that shit, goddamn, but she do that shit. I feel like out of the kids, the only ones that's not doing that shit is Susie and Kimmy. I feel like Susie, she's just above that shit. She got too much she's trying to be in life. Like, she got the whole singing shit. And like, you know, she's talented, so she's staying away from drugs. And I feel like Kimmy would just think that shit is dumb. Like, Kimmy strikes me as a female that would be like, man, that shit is dumb. Like, Kimmy would think drugs are stupid. Like, she wouldn't do drugs at all. She wouldn't do drugs. She would think that shit is dumb. She would tell all of them, like, y'all niggas are stupid. Like, y'all are dumb. So that's all grown up. For my life as a teenage robot, Brad is definitely a pothead. Brad is definitely a pothead. He's definitely chiefing. I feel like Jenny would try to, but I feel like that shit would just fuck her up. Like, she just wouldn't be able to do it because she's a robot. It probably, like, goddamn cause her to goddamn dysfunction and she turns evil or some shit or go crazy. And then she would never do that shit again. But Brad is definitely chiefing. Sheldon, I don't think Sheldon would be doing that shit. The only nigga I could really see on there chiefing is Brad. Tucker maybe. I could kind of see Tucker doing shrooms and shit. He's hyperactive, this nigga. He's doing acid. Now off Danny Phantom hard, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like Jazz, she's not doing nothing. I can see Tucker. Yeah, Tucker. That nigga Tucker. He definitely chiefing. Tucker's definitely chiefing. He's definitely chiefing. I can see him doing shrooms too. I can see Tucker doing shrooms, a little acid and shit. Yeah, he's definitely hitting the blunt though. Tucker's definitely smoking weed and shit. In terms of Sam, damn, what was I saying for Sam? I don't know if Sam would do that, man. I feel like Danny wouldn't fuck. I feel like Danny and Sam would be against that first, but then they start hitting that shit. I feel like I can see Sam and Danny eventually like start smoking weed and shit. I can see them start hitting the blunt with Tucker, but they just wouldn't fuck with that other shit. So Sam and Danny will only be smoking weed and that's it, while Tucker's doing all that crazy shit plus weed. But I feel like he will be able to handle that shit. Like he wouldn't be like crashing out on it. In terms of Dash would just be, I can see Dash doing some Xanax, bro. I ain't gonna. I can see Dash and Quan, the Asian. I can see them like doing Xanax and shit. I can see them doing Xanax and shrooms sometimes. I could also see them smoking cigarettes and weed. You know, they hitting the blunt. Paulina's not doing that shit. She'll be on some shit. That's bad for my skin. Yeah, Paulina's not doing that shit. In terms of the villains, I mean, they ghost, but the boss ghost is definitely chiefing, bro. The boss ghost is chiefing. In terms of like Maddie and Jack, I can see them snorting. I can see them sniffing cocaine. I can see Danny's mom and dad, Jack and Maddie. I can see them sniffing cocaine, definitely. And I can see them smoking weed too. Yeah, they doing that. Yeah, they doing that shit. Hell yeah. I can see them doing shrooms too. Yeah, they doing all that shit. Danny's parents doing all that shit, and I feel like that's why Jazz and Danny for a while was like they against drugs type shit. But then eventually like Tucker's like, nigga, weed ain't bad, it's just weed. And then Danny's like, okay, I'll do weed, but I ain't doing that other shit you and my parents be doing. And Danny will give in. He'll do weed, but that's it type shit. Jazz will be disappointed. She eventually gets over it. But Jazz not doing shit. But goddamn, Jack and Maddie, boy, yeah, I could definitely see them doing weed, shrooms, coke, all that. Yeah, I could see them doing that shit. Like, they not hooked on it type shit, but they doing that shit though. Like, yeah, they definitely, yeah. His parents had a couple of loose screws in that bitch. Yeah, his parents doing that shit. Facts. So that's pretty much everybody from Danny Phantom. Like Valerie, I don't see Valerie doing that shit. That's everybody from Danny Phantom. In terms of the Avatar niggas, and Avatar is gonna be like the last show I ended on. For Nick, I'm gonna separate the Nick, Cartoon Network, and Disney thing. Like at first, I was gonna do Nick and Cartoon Network Disney together, but boy, this Nick video long as hell because a lot of niggas that, bro, Nick was a wild channel back then, bro. A lot of niggas that Nick is chiefing, bro. Like, I feel like a lot of the niggas at Nick, bro, they definitely gonna be on them drugs, boy. With Avatar, I don't know about Avatar, bro. Like, I feel like Uncle Iroh, he's definitely like smoking like cigars and shit. I can see Uncle Iroh smoking cigars. Probably not weed, but cigars. Aang, I don't see Aang smoking. I don't see Katara smoking. I can see Sokka smoking weed. I can see Sokka hitting a blunt. I can see Sokka hitting a blunt every now and then. Not like how like the other niggas I done named. Like, he wouldn't be chiefing like that, but he'll hit that shit every now and then. Toph, no. Zuko, no. Yeah, I don't really see that many niggas from Avatar doing that shit. Boomy, hell yeah, Boomy definitely chiefing, bro. Boomy's doing it all. Boomy's sniffing coke, he's doing acid. Boomy is doing it all. Heroin, yeah, he's definitely doing heroin. Goddamn, Boomy's doing that shit. In terms of everybody else, though, was like, I don't really. Is Azula? Nah, I don't see Azula doing that shit. Probably after she start going crazy. Yeah, I feel like Azula would more be of a drinker. I feel like everybody from Avatar would more be drinkers. Like, I can see Aang doing that shit. Aang drinking, Toph, Katara, Sokka. I feel like everybody in Avatar would more be drinkers than smokers for some reason. That's the vibes I'm getting from them. And then last but not least, I said I ain't gonna do nobody after Avatar. But the Ninja Turtles, they definitely chiefing. All of them niggas chiefing. But they only smoking weed. They ain't doing nothing else but weed. But goddamn, especially Mikey, but we know Michelangelo, he's hitting the blunt. But yeah, the Ninja Turtles, all they would do is weed and that's it. In terms of, yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. That's the only Nickelodeon niggas I'm about to do, because everybody else is kind of, I ain't gonna say I don't care about, but I don't really, like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. So this is it for my Nickelodeon one on who like what drugs like the cartoon characters were doing shit. I'm gonna do another one on Cartoon Network, and I might do a separate one on Disney, or I might just put on with the Cartoon Network one, depending on time. I was expecting this one to be that long, but I started really like going in depth on the characters. But this is Deshaun. I'm out. Peace.
Take these timbers to Kansas.